Okay, I think we're live. All right. So this is Sue Greenwald with Awaken Stories. I'm here today with the real John F. Kennedy Jr. Hey, John, how are you?
I am doing good. Thank you, Sue. Like
Awesome.
always, every time you say let's chat, it makes
Yep.
my whole day.
Yep. I do it more often, but it seems like I get distracted super easy anymore. Usually by food. So for those that are new to these videos, we're basing our conversation off Stolen Identity, a book that John has written, available on both Amazon and Barnes and Noble. A very easy to read book, although the content is a little hard to emotionally handle. All right, so it tells his basic story of what happened to him after his father died. So we've based all of our previous videos on the book. But if you don't know the story, rather than ask me every detail in the comments, which, after the joint time gets frustrating to me, if you'll go back to the first two videos that we did, that really outlines the basic story. And those links are in the description every week. All right. So what's new with you this week, John?
Well, I was reading, somebody sent me a picture book. It's in
Yeah.
French, and I did a video on that the other day.
Yeah.
And I had told my story about me and John and Caroline being in a boat. And Caroline was like, "We don't want to see you anymore because they're planning to kill you. So don't come back anymore." And I had shared that story. Well, during when I was doing a video about the picture book, I ran across that very picture of us in that speedboat, and I was like, "Wow." I've been sharing that story many a times, and there it is. There's me and George Onassis, my stepbrother that stole my identity, and the fake Caroline. And anyway, um, YouTube has set that video way back, but it got over like 3,500 views on that video. And usually, when you make a video, it stays into front until you make another video.
Yeah.
Well, they moved it 10 videos back. So if you go to my YouTube channel and look for that video, just scroll back to the last live that I did.
Yeah.
And I plan on finishing that book. I left it on my coffee table. I hadn't looked at it anymore. So it's all new to me. It's all new to you. Maybe
Yeah.
it'll jog some memories.
Yeah.
And a few days ago, I saw a picture that was posted of me wearing a cut off shirt. And on the back, it says Frisco. And then it has an iron cross. And I don't think that was made for everyone to see. I think it was specifically that picture was taken for me to wake up in the future. I really, really do. Because that is me standing there. I remember drawing that. I still draw that way. If people remember my videos when I first came out, I was drawing on my shirts. Hey, I'm John Kennedy. I was getting my hats and putting little sticky things on there, JFK, to try to get my story out. Um, I got some ink pens one day and I wrote JFK Jr. on my cutoff shirt to ride around, when I went to the motorcycle rallies up the street here. So
Yeah.
people would just basically ask me. But it totally jogs your memory and brings back all those, because I had forgot about that. I remember those guys, and it was a photo op. It really was. Wing told that one guy to grab that mirror and go stick it up there on that bus, that old school bus. And I posted the picture on TikTok and on Facebook if people want to check it out. But I remember that day. And some brothers asked me one time a few years ago, they said, "Well, where'd you hang out?" And I was like, "I hung out in Frisco." And they're like, "No, you mean Oakland." And I was like, "No, Frisco, Oakland too, but Frisco." So they were like, "No, not Frisco, not San Francisco." Well, that picture tells 1,000 words, and I wish those guys were here where I could say, "I told you, Frisco."
I saw the picture and it was like kind of your back was to the camera with that picture on it. It was like a jacket. I think it had cut off sleeves. So it's on your TikTok and Facebook account. So for
Yeah.
those that don't know, his Facebook account is under David Quigley, right?
Yeah, it's
Um,
just that picture is kind of the same way as when I was on Elvis's trike. It was to wake me up. They don't show my face, but I could tell you all about that picture, all the way from the experimental heater suit that Elvis was wearing, because he's got some funky looking funnel on his head that goes back down to the motor. And he actually paid somebody $5,000. They were working to invent a suit that would your motorcycle engine would keep you warm.
right.
It's like how many people would know that? It's not on that picture, but I was there, so I do know.
But after
Um,
you told us about it, we can see that, like when you go back to that picture, you can see it now, where maybe we wouldn't have noticed it before. Yeah. And I watched the video of you going through the commentary of that book, the pictures in the book, and hearing your memories, and you're like, oh, I don't remember that one or whatever. That was really powerful. Okay. So I'm sure that that did jog some of your memories that we all have tons of memories as kids that we don't remember, and
well,
um
my next live, I am going to do the rest of that book. Or,
yeah,
I mean, there's still that many pictures to go
yeah,
through.
yeah,
So, yeah, share, please.
yeah,
Share my story. Let's get it out. And if you follow me on YouTube, my next live will be
right,
part
right.
two.
Right. So I wanted to talk, if that was okay, about some of your like school years in New York City. And you went to school with a lot of, we'll call them famous people. It seems like all the classmates you knew there are famous now for the most part, right? Um, and so if it's okay, I'm going to show, this picture is not great. I think it's on the website as well, and that might be a better way to show it. But there's your classroom. You're in the front row, standing, you're where the lower arrow is looking, and the top arrow points to the person that took over your identity, John
Yeah,
Jack.
my stepbrother.
Yeah, yeah.
See,
So
even that memory of him saying that his family had died in a fire when he was there. That's the story he was telling.
yeah,
That picture there, we were studying, the teachers were studying Hitler, but I can guarantee you that the teachers and everything were working with our government.
of course. Yeah, they were keeping an eye on all of you guys. So in your classroom, you had Sean Hannity. You had, I think you said Denzel Washington. I think you said Denzel was in this picture. I'm not sure if this is him here.
Yeah, and see, those were all photo ops.
Yeah. So that
Um,
is him there.
I believe so. I had never met that kid before in my life. Me and Jackie actually went and picked him up. The fake Jackie, I believe, went and
Yeah,
picked him up. But
yeah.
it was just for a photo op.
Okay.
They
So he
took me
didn't actually
around
go to,
a lot. I only went to that school for a couple weeks here and
oh,
there. I moved around. Well, even with the Quigleys, I never went to school either. I would sit around watching TV, and then I'd go to school one day out of the month. Um,
wow.
it, but Wayne took me around and met everybody. Like I said, I thought he was building me up to be the boss of everything. Wayne had that much power. So when you say I met a lot of celebrities, I met so many. I
Right,
can't mention them all.
right.
I mean, Bruce Willis from, and I was going on a video about the cowboy actors.
Yeah,
Um, it all originated from the cowboy, um, the Western movies and the Western series they had way back in the 50s and 60s, and even before that in the 70s. And then they went towards murder mysteries and private eye shows. But the Westerns kind of fizzled out. But even like when I was on My Three Sons, I watched two, and I'm bad with names, but I watched two Western movies the other day where the father on My Three Sons was in Western movies. They were all in Western movies, and that's how they spread out. They were such a tight knit community within Hollywood doing these Western, I'm talking Charles Bronson and John Wayne and, Clint, all of them. It was so tight knit.
Right.
Um, and they were spread out with ranches. They were always promising me ranches. You get a ranch, and this is you're going to be your ranch. Never happened, but I'm sure they all got their ranches. I was watching this old Western, and everybody that's heard my story knows I lived in a little town called Coarse Gold. Well, even in this Western that I watched the other day, it jogged more memories because the guy that starred in the series had a big ranch out by Raymond, California, which is only a few miles away from Coarse Gold. Big ranch, and he passed away. But I remember them talking about it when I was riding the school bus and things about how their ranch was given to them because their uncle or whatever was a cowboy Hollywood movie star. But you know, it's the cabal. It's organized crime, and they don't think it's organized crime. It's think they're protecting their own, but it spreads out to organized crime and what they can do, like they did to me, where
Right.
they stole billions and billions, and they don't tell you what happened to my mom and my sister. Everybody knows my dad and my uncle. But it's huge, and it's all how they take money away from people and take lives. Identity theft, it's so huge, especially in that area. And I can't stress it enough. I went to school with a guy named Jeff Chu, and I believe I was in the sixth grade in Coarse Gold Elementary School. But Jeff Chu and his father, uncle, or whatever, they hit a logging truck head on up in the mountains when they were going hunting. So Jeff Chu perished. About 2 years ago, I saw Jeff Chu's Facebook account, and it's like they steal these people's identity. Jeff Chu had been dead since I was in the sixth grade, but now all of a sudden he's alive on a Facebook. And it was the whole, I looked at, Coarse Gold Elementary and so on and so forth. But they are just totally stealing people's identity, and why they would steal Jeff Chu's, I have no clue. But identity theft is huge. Look what they did with me, my sister, and my mom. My sister, my mom's side of the family, my mom's sister, my cousins. It's huge what they are doing. Unaliving people and taking their place. It's huge.
So this person, this Jeff Chu or whatever his name was, he was just a regular kid as far as you knew. And
He was a redheaded kid. His sister was in my class. I'll never forget it because I heard that he died, and I was like, "That's a bummer, man. He was so young. What what a way he had a future, alive." And she got all over me. That's not a way. That was not a waste. And I was like, "No disrespect. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, but I'll
yeah,
never forget that." But seeing him later pop up on Facebook, what, 35, 40 years later, I don't know why they do that. I don't know why, but yeah, I, I I don't know why I said I don't know why. Usually when people do that, it's over money. I've sat in my truck over the years going, why'd they do this? Why'd they kill this person? Why'd they kill that person? Why? Trying to put all the puzzles together, and then it's like, why am I sweating over it? It's always over money.
yeah, it is always over money, power, and control. And it'd be interesting to look at that Facebook account. Do you think it's still out there?
Um, I don't know. I haven't looked at it, and it's been a couple of years. Um, I imagine you could Google Jeff Chu and see.
Yeah. How do you spell his last name?
I believe it was Chew,
Okay. So if
but I
anyone,
never was good at spelling, but that's how it was pronounced, Chew.
okay. Well, we'll look that out over and just see for our own curiosity's sake, you know what I mean? Like it is interesting how they've replaced these people. And there's usually there's a reason we just don't know what it is, but like you said, it's always money for the most part. And
Yeah.
you said that pretty much everybody in your town or your neighborhood was involved in organized crime.
A
All the
lot of
family.
people were, a lot
Yeah.
of people. I
And a
wouldn't
lot
say
of
everybody, but A
Yeah.
lot of people were. And the little community that I lived, it had a front gate and it had a back gate. Actually had two back gates. Well, they placed people that worked for them at the front gate, and placed people that worked for them at both back gates. They knew who was coming in and they knew who was going out or coming in and going out.
Yeah.
And then they placed people all throughout the community. Um, it was massive, but it was totally organized.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody they wanted to leave that community could leave that community. If
Mhm.
somebody went in there and they did not want them around anymore, they would not leave. It was that well organized.
Interesting. And you said there were a lot of like Hollywood personalities and TV guys that
Well,
lived in
yeah,
as
Richard
well,
Keel, the man from Jaws, I worked for him. Great big tall guy with the metal teeth. He was in on James Bond 007. He was actually in a Clint Eastwood film. Um, he was a popular actor for being so tall, and he was known for wearing his metal teeth. But I worked for him. There was others, people that worked with Star Trek. Some of the girls, I believe, that worked with Star Trek lived in that community. Um, People that were doing the filming and setting up the sets in Hollywood lived there. So it was pretty vast.
Okay. Okay. So again, explain to the new people on the channel, why would they want to steal identities of anyone? Like what's the general purpose of doing that?
It's like the Hermit Crab. They basically move into someone's identity and they automatically own all the possessions of that person,
Right.
all of them. So if that person is a billionaire, they just instantly became a billionaire. And it goes down smaller through if they have a problem with somebody, um, that if somebody is going to the law, going to the FBI, and then the FBI says, "Hey, this guy's a problem," um, then they might steal their identity just to get rid of that problem.
Bless
Excuse
you.
me.
Bless you. Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't grab my Kleenex in time.
Well, so basically we've talked in previous videos at length about this, but
Hey.
they will bless you. They will take the person that they've taken the identity and they've taken their resources, basically their money, their businesses, their power, their control, their reputation, and they run with the lines. So they pretend to be that person running their various businesses or whatever, but they siphon off all the resources. And they've done it over and over and over again. And so right now, LA is on fire. Okay. So we're seeing all the celebrities come out. And of course, they're upset because their houses are burning. Now, they have multiple houses. It's not like if it happened to us, it would be like we have nowhere to live, right? They have multiple houses, but many of those people are in the club, if you know what I'm saying, that they are not even who we think they are, right? And we're seeing that more and more with celebrities. They've lost weight, they've gained weight, they've been sick, they look different, they've got a new style of this, like they've changed. Or like for example, Bruce Willis can't talk anymore. Okay. So he's sick and can't talk anymore. So a lot of these celebrities have already been replaced or they're CGI or whatever. So it's not what we think it is. Nothing is what we think it is. And we're really just starting to understand that and see it. But I think we're going to be surprised at the scope of that when it
It's
all comes
huge.
out.
It really is.
Yeah.
Even Ronald Reagan, I believe Ronald Reagan was replaced long before his funeral. And I believe they said he had Alzheimer's because being replaced, somebody asked you a question. I don't know.
Yep. Yep.
I
Well,
don't know.
remember he was shot, but they you know what I mean? Like, did he survive that shooting? Like, we don't really know what the truth is of that.
And I also made a video. I was watching Ronald Reagan. He was a traitor. Um, Actually, I don't know if you call it a traitor, but He was in an old Western movie. I took pictures of it, made a video. So Ronald Reagan, before he was president, he was a Confederate officer in this movie, and he was raiding, um, getting funds and things, and then he actually went undercover as a Confederate. But anyway, I took a picture and I said, yeah, they start out as cowboy actors and then they become president of the United States. But it's all one big ring, and it all started back then
Yeah.
with all the shows.
Yeah, but look how us, the public, like we're told over and over what a brilliant economic plan he had. Like they really chatted him up, if you know what I mean. They gave us this impression of him that he was the best thing. He was for the people. He was going to change the economy. He put the Star Wars program out there in space and all this stuff. They really did a lot of propaganda for him. And so we were like somewhat brainwashed into thinking he was the best thing since sliced bread, right?
Well, the thing I've learned is they're all figureheads. They're all puppets. Their plans are someone else's plans.
Yeah.
Um, People tell them what to do, and then they repeat it to us. But if you don't go with their plans, you end up like my father.
Yeah. Yeah. So we are seeing the entertainment industry, the politicians, they look different. So we're just notice that. Take note of the changes. And of course, they've all got background stories. Like everyone has this story about their life and where they grew up and how, they persevered and they became these amazing actors or singers. They had the talent. Are those stories even true? Right? We're given a story, we believe it, and then we hold them up on a pedestal because they overcame poverty or hardship to become this great actor or singer, right? Are those stories even true, I wonder?
No,
Yeah,
they're chosen from a young age.
yeah. And we'll see that an
Well,
actor,
you got the picture with me,
yeah,
with Denzel Washington and Sean Hannity. Um, at a young age, they built Sean Hannity up. They built Denzel up. They build them all up.
right,
They like keeping it a small world, very close and tight knit. If they're going to make somebody in Hollywood or make somebody in the music industry make billions of dollars, they want them family. They want them tight knit.
yeah.
Um, it doesn't. There's no outsiders. It doesn't happen.
They want them controllable. So they want the brainwashed. So they believe what they're told. They do what they're told, and they're rewarded, but they're also very controlled. Like so many people in our world want to be rich and famous, and I'm like, mm-mm. You are so controlled. You have no freedom whatsoever, you know? And so they don't realize what goes into all of that. But we see an actor or actress that basically has come out of the woodwork. We've never seen or heard of them ever. And all of a sudden, in a year or two, they're in all these movies, top box office movies, blah, 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 blah. So they become the it person. They came out of nowhere, right? So there's a story behind that as well. It's not just the way the ball bounces, it's all planned. And we're seeing that more and more, right? Yeah. Yeah. I want to show your website again if that's okay. And I
Oh, I
wanted,
would love you to.
yep, and I just gotta find it.
Oh,
It's funny because I can't even see what I'm doing here. Bear with me, everybody. Sorry. Okay. So let's do it this way. Right, there's the website right here. It's the real John F. Kennedy Jr.com. All right. So we've shown this before in previous videos, but fabulous website. And there's the picture we just talked about. So this is you in the front row. right? Kind of the same color hair. And then this is the one that took your identity. All right, and there's your class. Now, I didn't realize you had only been in that school a short. I knew you had been, you popped in and you popped out, but I didn't realize it was like 2 weeks. I thought it was much longer than,
No, it was all photo op. I don't know what they were actually doing, but
yeah,
I moved around so much, so much.
yeah,
Um, it's very rare to find pictures of me. And then with my stepbrother George Onassis,
yeah.
the man that stole my identity.
Well, I want to go over to the gallery page. That I wanted to ask about a specific picture and have you explain that picture to us. Just got to find it. So I'm just showing people kind of an overview. We've got the home page, which tells the story. Of course, gallery has a lot of the pictures, but this picture here, I wanted to ask you about. Okay, so you had said before that you were, I guess, stacking bricks,
I
right?
was under MK Ultra and
Yeah,
I stacked bricks for days. I slept on the ground in a sleeping bag. I woke up, I stacked more bricks.
yeah,
And then he showed up
yeah.
and they were actually talking about people that were planning a kidnapping.
Oh.
And they planned the kidnappings themselves. So I don't know. But yeah, I was kind of pissed off because I had just stacked bricks for days. And then he shows up, doesn't have to do any work.
Yeah, yeah. So let me
And I
ask a
never saw a
question.
dime. They never paid me. You know, I was their slave. I
Yeah,
was basically their slave, and they told me I was, and they knew it.
yeah. Why would you be stacking bricks? Like, aren't there like only a billion other people on planet Earth that could have done that?
Yeah, but they had me do it for some reason. Maybe it was just the point that they wanted to piss me off, you know, do all the work and then have
Yeah,
him show
yeah,
up
yeah.
just to rub it in
So,
my face that hey, he stole your money, he stole your identity, he stole everything from you,
yeah,
and now you're having to stack bricks and he doesn't.
yeah,
I really don't know. I don't know, but
yeah. Obvious. Now I know you're leaning against the back of the bricks or the stack, but it looks like there's probably a little bit of a height discrepancy. All right, so different heights. Obviously, you can't tell from this black and white, but you had different hair color and obviously different noses and ears as you
I
point.
don't really. I'm 6 foot tall. I don't know what he was
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. And it could
Um,
be just the way you're leaning or standing. Maybe he was standing on a rock or something, but that is like it
I
looks maybe a couple inches difference. Yeah,
I actually was 6'1", and I think my back deteriorated some. But anyway, I say I'm 6 foot now.
yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. So
I'm curious. That got me curious on what actual height they said he was. I think he was a little taller though.
yeah. Well, I don't actually remember either, but I just noticed that. And then I wanted to ask this question. So you guys were in this picture right here. You're both at the same school. Okay, so you're at the school. Now, maybe only a while, but you're at the school and then you meet them again at the bricks. So you had, and then in the other video you did the other day, there was a picture of you guys on the boat. Okay.
I would love her to put that picture on here somehow.
All right.
I'll try to get a good picture of that
All
because
right.
there's not very many pictures of us all three together
Yeah.
with Caroline, and Caroline is in that one
Yeah.
as
Is that the
well.
real Caroline in that?
No, that's the fake.
That's a fake.
That's the one that said on the boat they wanted to kill me. Don't ever come back. I
Yeah.
went back to the Quigleys after that, and I believe it was fake Aristotle there too because he actually threw me on the ground that day. Um, but I was at the Quigleys. They came and got me at the Quigleys again. Wanted to take me back um, to see them all again. I was like, no. Last time I was there, they said they were going to kill me. I don't want to go back. And he was like, you're going back anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So I guess my question was, you and John had interactions. All right, I said John. We'll call him George or John. Okay. you had interactions throughout your life. Okay. So you knew who he was. Okay. You think he knew who you were, and he
Oh,
probably
he knew 100%, and I believe he was trying to have me killed before his death.
right,
So I would not speak out. Yeah.
right. So for the plane crash, you knew that they were planning to kill you. You already knew that, but in your interactions in the previous, I think he was age 39 or so when he died, same as you. Um, so in the previous like 29 years, you had occasional interactions, right? And
Yeah.
what you've told us is he wasn't really a good guy.
I didn't like him.
Yeah, well, but I guess what I mean is, did he have a loving heart to others, or was he just ambitious and only wanted the money and the
He
power?
wanted the money and the power.
Yeah,
He even told me, I asked him, I said, "What do you want to be? The next John Gotti?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to run New York."
yeah. So you had brief conversations with him, and I know there was a picture. Oh, actually, it's right here. He's showing you a ring, you're showing him a ring. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when
Okay.
we were little. I had no problem with him. Um, but yeah,
Probably.
I think he punched me in the nose after that for calling him John John. But that was before he punched me in the nose because my memories are like on that day I had no bad feelings against him.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, you didn't know what the future held for you as well, right? You were flying around, doing all this stuff, acting in the Hollywood pictures and blah, 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 blah. And just you had just a variety of stuff in your life, and you didn't realize what was going to happen, that he would take over your identity fully, right?
Right.
So right at that,
I
yeah,
wish I did. Even when they were giving the lady dental work and plastic surgery and stuff to replace my mom,
yeah,
I didn't know they were planning on taking my mother's life and replacing her, which they did. I thought it was just kind of like a body double, and that's how,
yeah,
popular, famous people did it.
yeah,
But they do it specifically to take that person's life and take
yeah,
everything they own.
right, yeah.
It's over the money and the power. And they
And
did it.
as it,
They got away with it. They got away with it for years. They're getting away with it right now because no one, I mean, not no one, but the masses that need to hear this story, like I've said over and over again, this needs to be mainstream media.
yeah.
Pick up on my story.
Yeah.
Pick it.
Well,
And
those
they
that
don't.
are watching have heard us talk about the censorship. So, okay, even as we're doing this live video now, what I usually do is I go to my phone and I look at the comments and stuff to make sure there's nothing really pressing that I'm missing. I'm not able to see my own video on my own channel. Okay, so censorship is real, it's ugly. And again, they don't want the story out there because it exposes what they've done and what they have done, not only to you, but other people as well. All right, but this is a very extreme story. So again, a president's son, used to nannies, used to Secret Service, taking care of you, directing you, taking you around. You'd see your mom in between here and there. You didn't know what was in store. You just did kind of what you were told and guided to do, as would anyone as a child, right? No one knows. And then as time went on, you realized when you went to the Quigleys, that wasn't what life was about, right? And you
Yeah.
made the best of it. But can you even imagine going through the stuff that you've gone through? Horrible, horrible
Yeah,
experience.
they told me they would own me. They did. I was a slave to the government. They had always told me what to do and how to do it.
Yeah.
Um, that's how they
Yeah.
operate.
Yeah. So, again, the story is in the book, all right, Stolen Identity. The story is here. We've talked about it a lot, but to get the summary version, go to our first YouTubes. First two we did really is more chronological. Then now we just talk about whatever we feel like, right? Or if a story pops up. But
We have fun.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? That's what it's supposed to be about. These are just conversations. We're not like following a script where there's no agenda other than sharing the story and getting it out there to people, right? And it's really important that this story come out. It's happened to you. Yours is a unique and horrible story, but there's a lot of other whistleblowers out there that are afraid to tell what's happened to them, right? You're
Yeah.
paving the way for them as well.
Well, it got to the point where I didn't care if I would live or die.
Yeah,
I thought I would be dead already. I figured I would get my story out, it would blow up, and then I would be killed. That's what I thought. Um, I didn't know I would have to. I didn't know how much of a regime we lived in
yeah,
until I've been trying to share.
yeah,
I figured I would get a hold of all the news media and say, "Hey, I'm the real John Kennedy Jr." And boom, they'd bring me out, and then I would be killed
yeah,
shortly after. But here we are. Geez, how many years has it been? 7 or 8 years now, I think, that I've been trying to get this. I mean, that sign that I made a video of, that I was just trying to get, not that I was running for president, but I was trying to get attention to the world.
right.
So it was probably 2019 that I had this sign I was pulling around town saying, vote for John Kennedy Jr. 2020.
Yeah,
I mean, what is that? That's 6 years right there alone.
yeah,
But we've made a lot of progress because they didn't want anybody to hear my story.
yeah,
But I figured once I tried, I wouldn't be alive very long. I just felt there was a chance that I had to get it out to let people know what's really going on. Our government is fake. It
yeah,
is crazy with criminals, all the way to pre-planned first-degree murder of my loved ones. I mean, think about that, people. Pre-planned first-degree murder, and these people are running our country.
yeah.
It's
It's
huge.
really sad when you see what they've done to you, but they've done it to other people and average people as well. They use them for these false flag events. They use MK Ultra, mind control, and they brainwash them basically to do the school shootings or these other events.
They are the best of the best at criminal activity. The
Yeah,
best of the best at being criminals. That's what people need to understand.
yeah,
I get so many comments. Well, I heard this, I heard that. You can't believe anything. Even when I was in special ops training, I was told, don't believe anything you hear ever, and
right,
believe only half of what you really see because it's not true.
right.
They knew that, and they knew they were dealing with the real John Kennedy Jr. back then. And I'm sure they were sworn to, secrecy, where they would be killed if they said, "Hey, I'm training freaking John Kennedy Jr. here."
Wow. Yeah. See, for the average person watching this, it's inconceivable that this can happen. How could this happen? Again, we're taught America's the best country ever. Like we're free. That's what we're taught all through school. We're the freest and best country ever, blah, 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 right? And then we grow up, and if your eyes are open, you see these things that seem like they're upside down.
And then you
Okay.
wake up and say, "Nothing's free,
Yeah.
nothing."
It's so corrupt, and we're brainwashed and controlled and taxed and governed and ruled and blah blah blah. It's really getting oppressive, and it's time for us to learn the truth about what's going on out there. And like we've said before, this is a grassroots movement. No one that's an influencer or famous or that has money is ever going to step up and help you or any of the other people. All right. They know what's going on out there. They need to protect themselves, right? So this is a grassroots movement, sharing the book, sharing the videos, telling the story,
and
asking people what
and
if,
you can
what
see
if.
where they come from too, because they'll be unalived.
Yeah.
It's like we only have one life, so they use that against us.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so
Well,
these people have seen it. They've seen people unalived,
yeah.
and they're like, well, if I try to speak out or do anything, they're just like, I'll go with the program and stay alive.
Yeah. And that's what they do. They turn a blind eye. They go about their business. They get their money or whatever it is, and they live these superficially happy lives. But like I said, they're being controlled, and in my opinion, it's so not worth it. So not worth it.
Yeah. I went to the post office yesterday to mail a book, and it was closed. And I was like, why are they closed? And then somebody said, Jimmy Carter's funeral. And I was like, really? They're making a holiday out of that? And then I saw a bit of a piece on my phone, and it was Garth Brooks, and he was singing a song at Jimmy Carter's funeral. But they glanced over to the audience, and I was like, these people are so depressed. So really, half of them were sleeping. They looked freaking miserable, and then they're making an entertainment thing out of it by having a superstar like Garth Brooks at his funeral. I used to mow Jimmy Carter's grass when I was a kid. I did.
Whoa.
I was introduced to all the presidents, just about everybody that was anybody. Um, like I said, I thought they were going to build me up to make me the boss someday. That didn't happen, but I don't know why it was all done. And then a week ago, before Jimmy Carter passed away, they were comparing Jimmy Carter to my father. And I looked, and he does have my father's same eyes, my eyes. They had my father and Jimmy Carter side by side. And if you looked at their eyes, they looked the same to me. And then all of a sudden, he passes away.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I think I might have tried to get a hold of Jimmy years ago and say, hey, are you going to help bring me out? But it's all the same circle. It's all the
Yeah.
same circle.
Yeah. And again, these stories that they tell us about what someone accomplished, how they made their fortune, blah blah blah. Are they even real? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody said Jimmy Carter died 3 times already.
Yeah, I feel like actually when I saw that he died like a week ago or whatever, I was like, I think he died before this. And maybe they've done that before. They announced Tom Hanks died a few years ago, and then like a couple days later, they're like, oh no, we made a mistake. And he's still out there making movies, right?
Yeah.
So
I've
yeah,
seen that over my lifetime with quite a few people.
yeah,
One
yeah,
of them was Lucille Ball,
yeah.
a few others. I heard they had died, and then a week later, you hear from them on the Tonight Show, and they're much alive. Or
Yeah. Yeah. And again, are they really who we think they are? Super curious. Like you'd have to do it on a case by case basis and just look at them and,
yeah, well, the technology they have with
yeah,
masks and every other thing
yeah,
and plastic surgery.
yep,
Back in the 70s when they unalived my sister and my mom, it was all, that's when plastic surgery was huge. Getting boob jobs was huge in the 70s, and dental work and things like that. But they actually built it all up back then, but they were actually doing that to use their
yeah.
identity theft and steal people's identity.
Mhm. I think now too, plastic surgery, like the average person can afford a procedure if they wanted to. Like, but before back then, it was extremely expensive. And maybe that was by design. Not that I would ever consider that, but for those that need, let's say you look somewhat like a famous person, you might need a little tweaking. So that could be one way that they would,
Yeah.
make it so you could physically, take their place. So.
Well, I was at Home Depot yesterday, and there was a guy saying, "By the way, don't eat Heath bars." And I was like, "Heath bars? Why? Are something wrong?" He said, "Well, I broke my tooth on a Heath bar," and I was like, "Oh." And he's like, "Yeah, I went to the dentist, and they wanted $400 just to pull it." And I was like, "Yeah, let's see, that's about $3,000 right there."
Yeah, awful, awful.
I
That
showed him that, and he's like, "Oh, my bad."
that a
He was
president,
talking about one tooth, and I was like, "Yeah, I got one left."
a president's son has to pull out his own teeth. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, a lot of them broke off, but I think I've had to pull out like three with pliers. They just
Awesome.
got so painful, and what a relief it is. I mean, it's hard to grab a pair of pliers because you hear the cracking of your tooth and everything, but
Yeah.
once you pull it out, it's a relief. The pain goes away.
Mhm. Yeah. And as we always talk, you're looking good. Like you look better and better each time. So we've talked about the PTSD healing pendants that you wear, and they are available on your website. I'm going to show them again, little a shameless plug for you.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and with that said, if you get a pendant, I was gifted a few books. I think I have 10 books left. And
Oh,
I've been giving them away to people that write me and say, "Hey, I could use a book," but I've been giving books away. But if you get a pendant, while I have some books, I will give you an autographed book as well.
yeah. That's so you're getting two for one, kind of.
Yeah,
It's a deal. All right. And an autograph
it's helping
book.
get the story out. And
Yeah, yeah. So
somebody told me the other day that they wanted to help me get a book out, which is totally awesome. Um, it's coming. It's coming. You know, I got this book out, Stolen Identity, but my book is still being written each and every day. This book doesn't talk about my son's death or any of that, my losses. This is just a fraction of, you know, my 64-year experience of um, being the son of a president that was assassinated and what they actually do. So the more the merrier. Hopefully, each and every, I want everybody in the world to know my story. I really do.
yeah. Well, so we've talked about the book before. So if you can purchase the book, that's great. If you've got maybe 10 more, you said. If you buy a pendant and you're one of those 10, you'll get the book included with an autograph, which is amazing. But if you can buy extra books and gift them to people, all right, they're $20. So if you have that, you can gift them to people. If you can write reviews, if you can promote it in any way that helps us at the grassroots level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there was actually a guy that purchased a pendant last week,
Yeah.
and he didn't know I was going to send him an autographed book, but I sent him an autographed book. He said, "Hey, I got your autographed book." He said, "I'll send you the one I have back, and you can gift it to somebody else." And I was like, "Please gift it to somebody you think will share the truth.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would surely appreciate that." And
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, I'll find somebody worthy and deserving to share it
It's
to." And I was
perfect.
like, "Cool."
That's all we're asking is for people to have their eyes open. And again, you can't make someone believe what we're talking about. You can't make them. But, by giving them the book, the picture is an excellent picture. And then you're like, what? And then you start to read it. Well, that draws you right in. You know what I mean? I read it my first time in one sitting and then cried my eyes out, of course. But then I went back through more carefully so I could understand it more. And
And
yeah,
while we got the pendant,
yeah,
these were gifted to me by King Smarty.
yeah,
He's the CEO of Source Directives. He has a website, smartiescorner.com. A wonderful guy. Check out his website. Um, he gifted me these just to help get the story out and help bring me up in this world. And
yeah.
so there's my plug for the king.
Yeah, he's watching now, by the way. But all right, so let's talk about the pendant. All right, we've got five different colors. Each color has two sizes, small and large. And the important part, not only are they very cool and they support John, okay, so they're collector's items, they'll be worth quite a bit in the future, is my guess. All right. And you might have more and more to sell as the future goes, but these are collector's items. But the important thing to note is that they have healing frequencies in them. So when John and I first started talking about a year ago, John was not feeling well. And honestly, John, you didn't look as well as you do now. You had a
No,
lot of,
I know. I made a video on TikTok. It's been long taken down.
yeah,
It had way over a half a million views. They took it down, but just watching that video, I was like, I was dying. I was literally dying making that video.
Yeah. So you've been wearing the pendant that King Sparty has given you for about a year. We're just gonna say a year. And you've got other products of his around the house, but
Yeah, I feel good.
yeah,
He gifted me a box of things, and Robin stuck them on the water cooler and around the house, and I feel good. I
yeah,
feel good. The
awesome.
doctors are trying to tell me different. I'm scheduled, to go see another cancer doctor, and I'm like, I really don't want to go. I feel great, but
Well, the medical industry, their whole business model is to find something to put fear into you. And once they come up with a diagnosis that manifests itself in you, then what do? They can sell you surgery and medication, right?
the whole system's over money, 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 money.
Horrible.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, these are the pendants I wanted to show everyone. Beautifully done. This tells a little bit about what the frequencies in the pendants. They're basically EMF/radiation protection. Okay, so you're wearing that around your neck. It's passively protecting you, but it's got all sorts of uh, healing frequencies for various illnesses, injuries, or whatever. And this is only just a little bit of, a list, but very interesting on how they've worked for you. We've watched it work for you, right? And so, okay, so we've shown your website, the real John F. Kennedy Jr.,
And
JR.com. Yep.
and Sue, if you can bring that back up and go to the very bottom, I just want to shout out to the gal that helped me with the website.
Oh, yeah, let's do that. I'm going to show her graphic here. So this website was created by the Source of Love. It's called sourceofloveofficial.com. All right. So here's her marketing graphic, and that's her website. All right. So
And she blessed me. She blessed us all with that website for getting the story out. So yeah, if any of you can support
yeah.
her, it's so appreciated. If you need a
If anyone
website, check her out.
Yeah, if anyone's starting their own business or whatever needs an inexpensive, quick, and beautiful website, visit Source of Love Official. She does graphic design and logos and things like that, but she has done some beautiful websites. So we'd love to throw business her way as she did this, because she believes in your story and wanted to help. And we got talking, and I was like, would you be willing to do this? So she's done your website. She's also done the Help Someone Today events for us and a few other really good, beautiful, and unique websites.
Yeah, she's gifted me a lot of time doing my website, and it's so appreciated.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
appreciated.
So if anyone needs a website or any graphics, please go there. And if you know of anyone else in your sphere of influence, please send them that way. Greatly appreciated. Um, yeah.
We all got to share the love. We all got to share the
Yeah,
love.
yeah. So we're all cross-pollinating, right? And it's good to work with those that are like-minded, right? That understand what you've gone through and all that, and the flavor of it can come through more clearly, than just a regular person doing it for the money.
Yeah. I was always taught my whole life, and I still believe that so much today.
Yeah,
Somebody does you right, you stick by them.
yeah,
There's so many backstabbers in this world to this day that are just in it for themselves, in it for the
yeah,
dollar and every other thing. Once you find somebody good, full of love, stick with them, people.
yeah,
Stick with
yeah.
them.
Yeah, and of course, in today's society, we all need the money to live, unfortunately. But if you find someone doing something for the money, they're probably not a good fit. If you find someone that does it because they love doing it, that's their passion, that's their mission, they're willing to work with you, go with them, right? I found that through the years, and even in my own life, if somebody asked me to do something, I can probably easily do it, but if I'm not excited about it, I got other things to do. you know? So I do what I want to do all the time, and it's kind of fun. Yay. So, anything else we should share today?
Oh, it's all love.
You
It's all
know,
love.
it's a huge story, and as we've said in the past, this is a global story. This is not like we're not obviously we want to support you personally and get your story out there. That is the first goal. But there's other people out there that have had similar experiences or, you know, horrible experiences.
There's
Your
so
idea.
many people. I'm
Yeah,
a really good example because my father was the president.
yeah,
But there's so many others,
yeah,
victims to MK Ultra, victims to child trafficking,
right,
kidnapping, torture, and we need to start marching forward and
yeah,
fixing the problems instead of staying where they're at. And
right,
there's so much we can do. We
yeah,
stand together, we unite, we share our experiences, but we
yeah.
can march forward instead of backwards.
Yeah. Well, the beautiful thing about your story, I mean, I'm sorry about your story. It would be good if you had your own free life and you could have realized whatever potential you wanted. But the good news is that there are lots of photos out there of you as a child, so we can compare. All right, so when you do that live again, if someone can subscribe to your channels, okay, which are in the description that I've put in every video, and watch those videos of the photos and your commentary. It's so interesting, but we can clearly see the resemblance, right? Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time this week. I really appreciate it. We will definitely be talking again.
Well, thank you, Sue, and thank you, King. Love you, brother. Love all you lions. Thanks so much.
Thanks everyone for watching and for all they can do to share this.